Today on Food for Thought, I'm preparing some easy and delicious snacks for movie night. First up, homemade movie candy with my chocolate-dipped caramels topped with nuts. Then I'm making two of my favorite twists on the classic movie staple, popcorn. First with a savory brown butter, and then a spicy chili lime version. And to top it off, I'm making milkshakes, a classic vanilla and a toasted marshmallow s'more shake. All to enjoy with my sister Amanda, who's dropping by for a stay-at-home movie night. Watching a movie is one of the only times we really get a license to snack, right? Today for movie night, I'm making a bunch of my favorite treats, starting with homemade movie candy. It can seem really intimidating to make your own candy. Thermometers are involved, tempering chocolate, but it's really simple, and I'm gonna show you how to make some delicious candy using things that are probably laying in your pantry. I'm making soft, chewy caramels covered in chocolate and rolled in nuts. It's the perfect movie treat. To start, I'm going to measure out my ingredients, and I have white sugar, brown sugar, cream, and a little bit of salt. That's it. So first, I'm going to measure out a cup of white sugar and a cup of brown sugar. I love this recipe because I'm using brown sugar as well as white sugar. The brown sugar gives it this sort of deep, rich mapley flavor that is so good. So right into the pot it goes. And now I'm just going to pack my brown sugar, just by pressing it down lightly. And you don't need it to be a hockey puck, you just want it to really condense into the cup. Okay, so a little more to top it off. That looks good. In it goes. And now I'm gonna add my salt, and I'm using a really mild, really lovely sea salt. And salt and caramel are just kind of meant to be together. The saltiness really offsets the super sweetness of the caramel, so I love adding a little bit of salt. So now I'm gonna add my cream, and this is what gives the caramels their lovely chewy texture. So that's 1.5 cups. And this is to make a really thick, moldable caramel. This isn't for a caramel sauce or anything that I want to be runny. I want it really nice and thick. Okay, I'm gonna give this a stir, and then I'm gonna pop it on the stove. I'm going to cook my caramel up to 245 degrees Fahrenheit, which sounds really, really hot, but in the world of candy making, it's really not that high. This is gonna be at a softball stage, which means it's gonna be really melty and moldable, and you can roll it in your hands. Toffee, for instance, is really brittle because it's cooked to a much higher heat, about 300 degrees. So that's called a hard crack because it cracks. And in the world of candy making, your thermometer is your best friend. You need to be pretty exact when it comes to the temperature of your caramel because you want it to be of a certain consistency and texture. So it even has handy little descriptions right here. So it says softball, hardball, soft crack, hard crack. So depending on what kind of candy you want to make, it will help you. And you want to make sure that it doesn't touch the bottom of the pan, that it's just submerged into the liquid. This way it gives you a really accurate reading. So in it goes. My caramel is up to 245 degrees, so I'm gonna turn it off the heat, take out the thermometer, and I'm going to add my vanilla. So I turned it off the heat because vanilla burns pretty easily, so I don't need that extra flame when I'm adding this. And I like a lot of vanilla, so 2 teaspoons. Gonna give it a quick stir just to integrate it. And make sure to use a heat-safe spatula, you don't want anything to melt. And that looks really great. I'm now going to pour it into a buttered pan, and I'm just going to let it come to room temperature. If you want to make this go a little bit faster, you can definitely stick it in the fridge, but don't let it get too cold because we're going to be rolling them into balls later. While this looks great, I'm going to let it cool and then get to making candy. My caramel is room temperature, so it's ready to get turned into little balls about the size of a marble. To start, I'm gonna grab my spoon. This is gonna help me scoop out my caramel. And this is very sticky stuff, so I'm gonna spray this with a little bit of canola oil just to make sure it doesn't get stuck. Okay, That's about right. So you can see, really tacky, really chewy. I'm just gonna roll it in here, and if you find it at all sticky, just put a little bit of oil on your hands, but because we put it in a buttered pan, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, that's a perfect bite. I'm just gonna keep going and portion out the rest. Well, my caramels look ready to go, so I'm gonna pop them in the fridge to chill because I'm going to put them in warm chocolate later. I have my homemade movie candies ready to go, so I'm going to finish them up with some melted chocolate. And what you see here is I melted my chocolate using a double boiler or a bain-marie, and it's really simple. I just make one at home. I use a glass bowl and I put it on top of a pot that's filled with boiling water, and I let the steam do the work. So as you can see, beautiful and steamy, and the gentle heat from the steam melts the chocolate really slowly and gently so you don't get any discoloration. My chocolate looks beautiful, so let's get dipping. I'm using a fork to dip my caramels today, and the reason why is lots of drainage. So once I put them in the chocolate and get them evenly coated, I'm going to pop them into the nuts. And I have toasted almond and toasted pecan. You can use any nut you like. This is the fun part. Make it your own, choose flavors that you love. So let's grab one. Another fun idea is you can dip it in chocolate and then just sprinkle it with nuts so it just gets a little bit of that crunch on top. Or if you're not really into nuts, just plain chocolate. Well, all I have to do is pop my homemade candy into the fridge to chill until I want to have a bite, and this definitely is not a guilt-free treat, but it's movie night, so I have to enjoy myself. Movie night goers can't live on candy alone. When we come back, I'm adding new twists to the classic movie watching treat, popcorn. What's a movie night without popcorn? I'm making two of my favorite twists, a brown butter and a spicy version, for a new take on popcorn perfect for a night at home. Everyone has different tastes, especially when it comes to popcorn. My brother, he likes extra butter. I like mine a little bit spicy. So today, I have some really fun ideas that'll suit everyone. Popcorn is a really simple dish, so you want to use ingredients that you really love. Kind of a fun and festive way to enjoy popcorn is in the fall at the farmer's market, you can find popcorn on the cob, and you can even find them at specialty markets, and you can't really get fresher than this. It's still on the cob, and it's just a fun, interesting way to pop your popcorn. And it doesn't get any easier to prepare. Just take your cob, you stick it in the bottom of the bag, and then you just fold it over a couple of times. Now I'm going to pop it in the microwave. I'm just putting it on my popcorn setting, and remember, every microwave is a little different, so keep an eye on it the first time you try this. My popcorn's popped, so I'm going to put it in a bowl, cob and all, and then get started on my butter. Now I'm going to make brown butter, which is one of my favorite ingredients. It is so delicious and so simple. It's basically butter that you've melted, and you cook it just a little bit longer so that the milk solids in it get nice and toasted, and it brings this really lovely nutty flavor to everything. I love this stuff, and it is wonderful on popcorn. Butter is basically made up of two parts, oil and then the milk solids. So we're just letting the milk solids toast in the oil, and that's what gives it that toasty, nutty flavor. So I'm just letting my butter melt, and what I want to have happen is let the butter completely melt, and then it's going to foam up. So don't freak out when that happens. It will happen. It'll foam up and sort of spit a little bit, and what's happening is that's the separation process. So once it foams, it'll kind of calm down, and you'll see all of those golden brown bits. And that's where it gets a little dicey. You want to make sure that you turn it off the heat, because the brown bits will continue to cook if you leave it on. And you want your brown butter to be a really rich golden brown, kind of like the color of waffles. Well, this looks great. I'm going to get my popcorn put together. My brown butter is browned, and I have my popcorn ready to go. So I'm just going to drizzle it with a little bit of the brown butter. And this is a non-recipe recipe. It's one of those things that you put it together however you like it. If you like a little extra butter, add a little extra butter. And now for the sea salt. And because there are only 3 ingredients in this, I like to use a really nice sea salt that I can taste and has a little bit of crunch. And this is super casual. I'm just gonna mix it together with my hands. You just want the popcorn to get really evenly coated. Let's give it a taste. This is so good. I love brown butter. It's one of those ingredients that it's sort of mysterious. You can't really put your finger on it, and it takes something as simple as classic popcorn and just makes it a little bit more impressive. I've got one more popcorn, and this one has a kick. I add sriracha, which is a hot chili sauce, and a little bit of lime zest. It is so good. To start, just pop your popcorn how you normally would. I'm using my countertop popper. My popcorn's done popping, so I'm gonna pop it in the bowl. Now I'm gonna put my sauce together. It could not be simpler. Into my melted butter goes a little bit of hot chili sauce and some fresh lime zest. First, I'm going to zest my limes. So you just press into like this, and you just want the very top skin. Next, I'm going to add my sriracha, and a little goes a long way with this stuff. So I start with just a little baby amount and add as I need. And also you can just sprinkle it all over the popcorn at the end if you really want a kick. So now I'm just gonna stir it all together. And this is to make sure that I get an even distribution of the flavors over all of the popcorn. I don't really want to get pockets of lime and pockets of hot sauce. I want everything to sort of melt together with the butter. All right, well, I think it's time to dress the popcorn. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of this on top. And if you can't find sriracha, you can use any other chili sauce, but I love the flavor of sriracha. It has a little bit of sweetness and kind of a garlic note that is so good. Time for some salt. And just a healthy sprinkling. Now I'm gonna mix it all together. Ah, it smells so good. I am just gonna drizzle this with a little bit of extra sriracha because I like my popcorn hot, and it looks really cool too. Well, I have to give this a try. It's so good. It's that perfect combination of spicy, citrusy, and a little savory. Oh, I love this. So perfect for a movie night. Up next, I'm putting my spin on the classic American treat, the milkshake, when food for thought returns. What better treat for movie night than a classic milkshake? Just add a couple of decadent ingredients, get your blender ready, and you're all set. I'm making 2 milkshakes today. They are so easy, and once you get the ratio of milk to ice cream down, you can personalize it however you like. I'm starting with the classic vanilla milkshake that my dad used to make for my sister and I. I love it, and it uses half of a banana, so it has that great sort of vanilla flavor, but it's not super banana-y. To make the milkshake, I'm gonna start with my vanilla ice cream, and because this is such a simple flavor, it's really about the vanilla, you wanna use a really good vanilla ice cream, preferably with real vanilla bean in it. And I let my ice cream soften for about 20 minutes so it's really easy to scoop. And I'll start with 3 scoops of ice cream right into the blender. Next, I'm going to add my banana. So just a half of a nice ripe banana. Now I'm going to add a raw egg, and yes, a raw egg. This is what my dad grew up drinking, so it's what I'm used to. But if you don't want to use a raw egg, use pasteurized one or no egg at all. Next, I'm gonna add a dash of milk. You can always add a little bit more, but I like to start with just a little bit because I love my milkshakes really thick. Now, it's ready to blend. Well, that looks perfect. I'm gonna pour it out and give it a try. The only thing this milkshake is missing is some whipped cream. Let's give it a taste. It's really good. It's just like how Dad used to make it. Really vanilla-y and not a lot of banana. It's really subtle. And I love the egg in this drink because it sort of emulsifies everything and gives it this beautiful sort of thickness and richness that is really, really delicious. Now I'm going to make a toasted marshmallow s'mores milkshake, and it is so delicious. I love this one because it has a toasty marshmallow flavor and it's very unique. So get started like any other milkshake. I'm going to put in my ice cream. Next is the most important ingredient, the marshmallows. And as you can see, they're really nice and toasty. And the way I did this was just on an open flame on my stove, and I made sure to use a metal spear. This way you don't get anything burnt and it's really easy. And the trick here is to get it nice and toasted because that's where all the flavor comes from. And a s'mores is not complete without a little bit of chocolate with those toasted marshmallows. So I like to grate my chocolate, but you can finely chop it too. Basically, I just want it small enough that it doesn't get stuck in the straw. Well, that looks like enough. I basically want a bit of chocolate flavor, but I don't want this to be a chocolate milkshake. So I'm just gonna scoop it up. In it goes. And I'll save the rest for garnish. All this is missing is my egg and some milk. And now we blend. Well, that is nice and blended, so I'm gonna give it a pour. And now for the garnish. I'm gonna put a little bit of whipped cream on top, and I really like this with unsweetened whipped cream. The milkshakes are already kind of sweet, so it's a really nice counterpoint. A sprinkling of the shaved chocolate. And then it's not a s'mores without a graham cracker. I just like to crumble these using my hands. It's just a little bit on top, just for some texture. Just like that. Let's give it a taste. That is so tasty. I love the toasted marshmallow flavor. It's really smoky and kind of has a burnt sugar thing going on. It's so good in a milkshake. And the chocolate's really subtle, and I like that. It's not a huge flavor, but it's there. And the graham crackers on top, well, they're good too. I hope that my movie night snacks stand up to the scrutiny of a very special critic, my sister, when we come back. Welcome back. I'm here with my lovely sister Amanda to enjoy some of the snacks I made for our movie night. So I went a little to town on this. Give it a try.
Awesome.
So I made you a banana chocolate chip milkshake.
Yum.
And I have a s'mores milkshake.
Cheers.
Cheers to movie night. Not bad, right?
So good.
I sort of was inspired by what Dad used to make for us.
Yeah.
So I made a couple of different things that I think you might be into. I think you'll really like this. This is a brown butter popcorn.
I like the sounds of that already.
Indeed. This is right up my alley, but
This looks spicy.
it is a little spicy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think you'll be living over here.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is sriracha lime popcorn.
Interesting.
And then I made homemade movie candy.
Yum, what kind?
It's a brown sugar caramel, so really chewy. Dipped it in some semi-sweet chocolate, and then I sprinkled it with some nuts. So let's give it a try.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Claire. These are amazing.
You like it? Mm-hmm. But you're usually sort of a gummy sour candy girl when it comes to movie
No,
candy.
this caramel's amazing. I'm so impressed you made this.
Thank you.
So yummy.
That's so nice to hear. So I guess a really important question is, what are we watching?
I'm not watching anything before 1945 and nothing involving wars.
Aww.
So
I think for this kind of food and this kind of night, like a romantic comedy or something light and easy.
yeah.
All right, well, let's get started on the popcorn.
Okay.
I have a feeling this is more your jam.
Yeah, this definitely is.
I'll hook you up with that, and I'll just be noshing on my spicy, savory, awesome sriracha.
So this is the brown butter.
And that's it. I mean, you could make this, because
Okay.
all you do is brown butter. It's just melted butter, and then you just wait.
I could eat an entire bowl of this. I'm actually going to eat this entire bowl.
I'll try to cut you off at some
You
point.
have yours. I got mine.
So does this stack up to Dad's usual movie night spread?
Absolutely. I think it's even better. Don't tell him.
Oh, don't worry. I'll just make this for him, and then he won't have a problem with it. Well, we're gonna go enjoy our movie night, and I hope I gave you some fun ideas for your own movie night at home. See you again for another episode of Food for Thought next week.